Your Excellencies, honorable panelists, ambassadors for peace, and ladies and gentlemen who are with us today, welcome and thank you very much for joining us. My name is Mrs. Gail Adele Beath. I'm the Regional Coordinator of the International Association of First Ladies for Peace for Central America and the Caribbean. We are a project of the Universal Peace Federation, which is an NGO in general consultative status with the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations. We also support the peaceful reunification of the Korean Peninsula. I would also like to acknowledge and welcome Dr. Charles Yang, who is the Universal Peace Federation Chair for Central America and the Caribbean, who is also with us here today behind the scenes. It is my great honor to be your moderator for today's program. Because we have people from all over the world joining us, translation is available by clicking the round globe icon at the bottom of the screen and choosing your preferred language. The theme today is a tough one: finding solutions to society's problems by addressing the inner conflict that exists within each one of us. We will be focusing on how to achieve peace within ourselves first in order to affect change in our world at large. To begin, we will play a short 3-minute video titled "The Launch of the International Association of First Ladies for Peace." Enjoy.
One year after its creation, the first General Assembly of the ISPC took place at the 2020 World Summit and had for theme the realization of an ideal world of peace centered on coexistent mutual prosperity and universal values. It brought together nearly 7,000 high-ranking personalities from 171 countries, including 120 former and current heads of states and government. The former Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, delivered the welcoming address. Several heads of state and government then highlighted the vision of the ISPC through speeches.
I'd like to thank and extend my special gratitude to Dr. Hak Ja-han for hosting this summit and commend her long-standing commitment to peace and reconciliation.
Por eso me permito felicitar a los fundadores de la UPF, porque están haciendo lo que otros solo hablan.
The Mother of Peace encouraged participants to place God at the center of everything and called for the realization of peace in the world.
우리는 하늘 부모님 앞에 참 효자, 효녀, 충신이 되는 길을 가야 할 것입니다.
In addition, First Ladies from several countries came together with the same heart and determination as their husbands. Thanks to the ISCP, in December 2019, the Republic of Palau successfully organized the Asia-Pacific First Ladies Summit, which brought together 80 women leaders, including 20 First Ladies. These ladies launched the International Association of First Ladies for Peace in order to solve, with a mother's heart, the fundamental problems of the world and thus spread the women's peace movement.
We must look into ourselves, draw upon that value, and work together as women traditionally would to create solutions to challenge the threat that our families are facing in our homes and our nations. Let's take this opportunity to build strong relationship and partnership for our future and for the future of our children.
The Mother of Peace is determined to achieve a world of harmony and peace with a motherly love. Accompanied by the Association of First Ladies, they will broaden the horizon of a world of peace through close collaboration with the ISCP.
At this time, I would like to introduce a graceful and gentle, yet strong and great leader, Dr. Julia Moon. Dr. Moon is the president of the Women's Federation for World Peace International. She's the general director of the Universal Ballet. She's the president of the HJ Korean Cultural Foundation and the vice president of the Sunhak Education Foundation. Dr. Moon's leadership is amazing. I'm very impressed with how she can manage her time to lead so many prestigious organizations in such an efficient and responsible manner. Women truly have such multitasking talent. Please welcome Dr. Julia Moon, who now has the floor.
Unmute, please.
Oh, unmute Dr. Moon.
Mrs. Vieth?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for that very kind and warm introduction. Your Excellencies, respected speakers and participants from all over the world, good afternoon and greetings from Seoul, Korea. It is my great honor and pleasure to welcome and address this distinguished gathering of the International Association of First Ladies for Peace, together with many guests and representatives of Universal Peace Federation and the Women's Federation for World Peace. The theme of this conference is certainly an important one, finding solutions to society's problems by understanding the inner conflict that exists within each human being. It points to the fact that the problems of society are rooted in individuals, and thus we need to look within ourselves in our pursuit for peace in our societies. When we look at human history, and especially the current state of the world today, continuous wars are being waged. We see the suffering of refugees, young children dying of famine, poverty and the ever-growing gap between the rich and the poor, natural disasters resulting from climate change, the ongoing pandemic, and the breakdown of marriages and families. When we see violence, greed, and suffering in the world, we point fingers at others. Political parties blame one another for social ills, and family members criticize one another, and nations criticize other nations as well. It is plain to see that we are in a global crisis and cannot but acknowledge that something is deeply and fundamentally wrong. What is the root cause of all the suffering and pain that we see in our world today? How can we find our compass, our true north, and our reason for being? How can we be free from this suffering and inner conflict and find true peace and happiness? These are some of the fundamental questions that all religions have tried to solve since the beginning of human history. Through science, humankind has endeavored to overcome ignorance of our physical world, and through religion, overcome ignorance of the metaphysical or spiritual world. Until now, science has opposed religion and spirituality, but recently, it is now scientists that are proving through quantum physics the existence of a higher intelligence or universal consciousness or universal field theory that we and all things are connected to as one. Our co-founder, Dr. Hak Ja-han Moon, often stresses that humanity's problems cannot be solved by man alone. It is only when we understand that we are one family under God and live for the sake of others that we can create an ideal world of peace. Peace starts with each individual connecting to God's heart and love, and then expanding that love to the family, tribe, nation, and world. Humanity needs to seek and reconnect with our true north or higher conscience, ultimately only by restoring a vertical relationship with God, our creator, and heavenly parents. Each individual and humanity itself can be free from conflict and establish lasting peace. The co-founders of WFWP and UPF, my beloved parents-in-law, affectionately known as Father and Mother Moon to many people, exemplified the teaching of living for the sake of others throughout their entire lives. Father Moon spent almost 3 years in a North Korean prison camp, during which he endured unimaginable suffering at the hands of the communist regime of Kim Il-sung. Yet he never sought revenge or retribution, and instead offered just the opposite. In fact, 40 years after this ordeal in 1991, Father and Mother Moon traveled with an entourage to North Korea and offered friendship and support. Father Moon even gave Kim Il-sung a huge bear hug, shocking everyone who was there. He returned love for injury. Mother Moon, after the loss of her beloved husband in 2012, continued their shared mission of educating and working with all who yearned for peace. She has not ceased to reach out to people from every walk of life. She has initiated new ways for idealistic individuals to pool their energies, including this distinguished gathering today of the International Association of First Ladies for Peace. Mother Moon understands the power of women to overcome traditional barriers of nationalism, politics, and ethnicity. She stresses that women are the key to initiating peace, beginning in the family and growing outward to the neighborhood, society, nation, and world. In her memoir, she says, each woman first needs to be clear and pure within herself. Each needs to find the indomitable power within that is necessary to overcome self-centeredness. She needs to become a true daughter who attends her parents with filial piety, and a true wife who completes her husband with fidelity and devotion. Moreover, she needs to become a true mother who raises her sons and daughters with love and dedication. She needs to form a family of true love that attends God, and God will raise up such true women leaders on the path to world peace. I believe that we have such women leaders with us here today. I know you will be discussing your efforts for solving social problems, and you will be learning from one another and sharing great insights with us. I hope that through IAFLP, the International Association of First Ladies for Peace, great women leaders will continue to come together to become a real voice that can bring positive changes to our societies, nations, and the world. Once again, I want to thank each and every one of you for your sincere and dedicated efforts to work together with others for the goal of a better world for our children and our children's children. May God bless you and be with you and all your families. Thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Julia, for your crystal clear message. That was just beautiful. And now for our congratulatory remarks, I have the pleasure of introducing a leader in arts and culture. She's also the executive assistant to the Office of the First Lady of the Bahamas. She won my heart because in her incredible success story of beginning her life in the ways of the world, so to speak, she has become an incredible pastor who has helped so many people to be the best that they can be. Let us welcome the president of the World Dance Council, Bahamas section, Dr. Ann Higgins. Welcome, Dr. Higgins.
It's such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure, Gail. I want to congratulate Her Excellency Sibylline Patricia Minnis, former First Lady of the Bahamas, Her Excellency Perlette Louisy, former Governor General of St. Lucia, the Honorable Arishka, and I hope I'm not pronouncing it wrong, it's such a name, but Congresswoman and Vice President of the Congress of the Republic of Honduras, Her Honorable Mr. Kohler Calendar, past President of the Lions Club of Bridgetown. All of you have contributed so much to society with the wealth of knowledge and experience that lies within you. All of you have solved problems in different ways and contributed to society. We congratulate you on the service that you have given to society in your various capacity. We look forward to hearing how we can address the inner conflict that exists in each and every one of us. Congratulations, and may God continue to use you in the area that He has chosen you.
Thank you, Dr. Higgins, for your warm welcome to our speakers. It's always a joy having you with us. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you a very special lady who served as the Governor General and Head of State of St. Lucia for 20 years. She was honored by Her Majesty the Queen of England with the award of Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George. And in 2001, was made a Dame of Grace of the Most Venerable Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem. Let us welcome Her Excellency, Dame Dr. Perlette Louisi. Your Excellency, you have the floor. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Your Excellency. Good, good, good.
Yes. Yes,
Good,
I was
good.
saying thank you so much, and good evening to all my colleague presenters and our audience worldwide. The challenge that has been laid before us this evening does not at first glance seem to offer anything except an adverse outcome. We are tasked not just to seek, but to find the solutions to society's problems when we ourselves have to grapple with an innate and inherent conflict common to every human being. Indeed, if we are by our very nature broken and not at peace within ourselves, the question is, how can we help others resolve their own conflicts, either at the individual or collective level? It seems to me that we should not take offense if we are accused of ignoring the beam in our own eye while we castigate another because of the speck in his or her eye. And I ask, even if our neighbor has a beam as big as ours, how are we to deal with it? Should we turn a blind eye and let the problem fester? Or should we acknowledge that we all have fallen short and should therefore work together for a more favorable outcome? How many times have we been accused of hypocrisy and self-righteousness when we attempt to draw attention to other people's shortcomings, or indeed to offer advice as to how they can right their wrongs, when we ourselves have skeletons in our closets? How many times have the words, physician, heal yourself, been thrown at us when we try to prescribe solutions to what we consider to be other people's faults, their failures, or their inadequacies? And how do we counter the argument that sometimes it really is a situation of the blind leading the blind? And we know only too well how that will end. We will all fall into the ditch together. But given the inherent nature of the conflict within ourselves, how can we, or how do we help solve society's problems, a society of which we ourselves are members? How do we work for the common good? Reverend Moon was right when he advised each one of us to gain dominion over ourselves before we attempt to gain dominion over others. Before we try to write the word, we should try to write ourselves, to make ourselves right. How many times, for example, have we uttered or even sung the words, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me," and still do nothing or very little about it? I would like to suggest that we extend that commitment of this change beginning with us. Let us try to bring in other aspects of our current existence. Let us all, first of all, acknowledge our own weaknesses and imperfections, our own brokenness. Then let us, through self-control, self-discipline, and empathy, particularly empathy for others with similar, comparable, or even heavier burdens, and bring some stability to our own conflict. Then we can walk with one another as wayfarers on the same journey. Let us put into practice the words of the popular hymn, "Try a Little Kindness," which would make us ideal companions for that journey of self-healing and altruistic healing and healing of others. We are asked to, if we see your brother standing by the road with a heavy load from the seed he sowed, and if you see your sister falling by the way, just stop and say, you know, you're going the wrong way. And we can do much better than that. We can show them the right way. Take them by the hand if need be, and set them back on track. We're going to be both winners in the end. Our individual internal conflicts will still be there with us, but assuredly the journey for us and for them, for those whom we want to help, whose problems we want to solve, will be less arduous, more tolerable. And I think it will turn out to be a win-win situation. There is a role that each one of us can play in improving the life chances of the members of the community, the country, the society in which we share. Women of influence, and I take it that all of us, in our small way, are women of influence. We can be powerful advocates, especially for women and girls in our respective communities. In spite of our own individual internal conflicts, you know, we have to admit that we have been able to manage these exceedingly well. So, with that experience, we can make a difference in the lives of many of those who are struggling with the problems of gender-based violence, intimate partner violence, teenage pregnancy and other reproductive health issues, and mental issues, among others. And I'm speaking about girls and women, but let us not forget the men and the young boys, because we are all in it together. We, as women of influence, can be patrons to both governmental and non-governmental organizations and institutions and initiatives that serve that community. We can be mentors. We can offer both tangible and in-kind support. We can simply be there for them. Let us be outstanding role models for them. Let us teach them to appreciate the power of example. Because very often, people remember what we did more than what we said. For we all agree that actions speak louder than words. Who knows, fellow panelists and anybody listening to us, who knows how many lives we can save, how many lives we can change. With these few words and this short reflection, I wish to thank you for your indulgence, and I look forward to the participation and the contribution of my fellow panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Dame Dr. Luisi, for taking the time to share with us your wisdom and experience through your years of service to your nation and the world. Thank you very much. And now I would like to introduce a very lovely lady who happens to be a good friend and colleague of Dr. Higgins. She's a member and former chairwoman of the Spouses of the CARICOM Leaders Action Network, SCA&. She holds an earned Bachelor of Science degree in biology from the prestigious Bethune-Cookman University. She has been a champion for the Caribbean Woman, Caribbean Child Initiative. Let us welcome former First Lady of the Bahamas, Honorable Mrs. Sibylline Patricia Minnis.
Hi, good evening to all. It is indeed a pleasure again to be here and part of this seminar. I would like to thank Mrs. V, and also I see we have present Dr. Moon with us, Julie. It must be, your parents must be very happy to see you continue the work that they have begun. And I am proud to be a part of that work in bringing peace to the world. So fellow panelists, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, again, a pleasure to be with you. The late Pastor Miles Monroe, world-renowned Bahamian pastor and leadership consultant, wrote the words to a song called A Brand New World. If I could sing, I would have sang it to you, but I will just repeat the words. It begins, people don't like the way the world is turning. Something inside is always yearning for a brand new world. People everywhere are so confused. Leaders don't know what to do. Oh, what? We want a brand new world. Though we send rockets to the moon and the stars, though we make ships and planes that go very far, there's not a mountain that man hasn't climbed, but a brand new world he can never find. People have tried everything, and they still can't find what they're searching for. Oh, how we want a brand new world. So if you want a brand new world, you want to have a brand new people. People's heart must be new and full of love. And if you want a brand new people, you have to have a brand new life. And if you have a brand new life, you have to come to Jesus Christ. Ladies, we've been asked to discuss solutions to society's problem and look at the conflict that exists within us. Nations around the world may have different heritage and culture, but are faced with similar problems. In this 21st century, the challenges of hunger, poverty, conflict and war, climate change, inequitable access to health care and education, and safety for all people continues to exist and is not unique to any given country. In similar manner, breakdown in the family, gender-based violence, teenage pregnancy, sexually transmitted disease, and mental health issues continues to plague our nations. Finding solutions to these issues are paramount in an effort to eliminate them and protect future generations as best as possible. Identifying and addressing the conflict within is a step in the right direction to having the conflict in the world addressed. Changes can only come when it commences in each of us. We must endeavor to portray love, compassion, and understandings for persons who are marginalized and are at risk in our society. It is deemed necessary that we advocate for legislation to protect such individuals. But more importantly, we must work to facilitate equitable access to the services that persons may need. It is our duty to unselfishly serve, assist, and support others in our quest towards equality and safety for all people. Every citizen of the globe should take a personal oath, and I'm going to repeat this. Every citizen of the globe should take a personal oath to live in brotherly love. Our collective effort of love and service can greatly change and improve the lives of others and ultimately change our world. In closing, I encourage you to form an introspection and aim to perform actions that positively impact and reverse the plight of disadvantaged people. We must address and remove the inner conflict that hinders progress and exacerbates the ills. Equitable access to resources that promote health, safety, and protection is a basic human right. Moreover, the acts of kindness and love transcends all religion, colors, and creed, and it is a message we must never forget to include in our discussions with regard to earthly problems. Let us be reminded of the word of our Lord Jesus Christ. He said he gave us a new commandment, that we are to love one another as he has loved us, and that we should do unto others as we would have them do unto us. Can you imagine a world where each of us would do to the other person what we would have them do unto us? That would end all wars, all hatred, and all of society ills, because we would be happy to help each other. Ladies, so it's with this command that we love each other that I leave with you this evening. Thank you for being able to participate, and I look forward to us talking again and having the conversation how we as ladies would spread this love in our society. Thank you.
Yes, Mrs. Minnis, that brand new world that you referred to in your speech is precisely what we're all working towards. Thank you very much. And now we English speakers will need to use the translation mechanism at the bottom of the page. Our next presenter will be speaking in Spanish. Remember to click the round globe icon at the bottom of the page and choose your preferred language. Now I have the pleasure of introducing a very special leader. She is a congresswoman. She is the Vice President of the Congress of the Republic of Honduras. She is a former First Lady, a former Miss Honduras. I'd also like to congratulate her on her recent delivery of her second child. You can imagine how busy she must be. Let us welcome her, Honorable Mrs. Irashka Elvir de Nasrallah. You have the floor.
Thank you. Muchas gracias a todos. Es para mí un verdadero honor poder compartir este panel con tan distinguidas damas. Hoy vamos a hablar acerca de cómo encontrar soluciones a los problemas de la sociedad, abordándolos desde los conflictos internos que existen dentro de cada una de nosotras. Hoy que soy madre de 2 niños, comprendo la gran dificultad que tenemos las mujeres, sobre todo las mujeres en política, para enfrentar todos aquellos desafíos que día a día tenemos que tomar decisiones y que no es fácil, producto de que tenemos muy corto tiempo para hacer grandes cosas por nuestros países. Distinguidas panelistas, moderadoras, primeras damas, gobernadoras, congresistas y todas esas mujeres que forman parte del cambio en sus comunidades, es para mí un verdadero placer acompañarlas en este panel y poder formar parte de ello. Hoy abordaré temas desde cómo la organización de nuestros días influye en grandes tomas de decisiones, nuestro desempeño en nuestras actividades, en cómo dejar atrás nuestras inseguridades y cómo estas afectan al momento de acatar nuestros compromisos. ¿Cuántos deseos de cambio para nuestros países nos embargan día a día? Les pregunto, ¿qué hacemos para cumplirlos? ¿Estamos lo suficientemente organizadas para poder concretar todas nuestras metas del día? ¿Hemos tomado una iniciativa de forma individual para comenzar a hacer la diferencia? ¿O esperemos que alguien nos dé una idea? Es ahora donde les propongo que implementemos los principios de subsidiariedad. Este principio es aplicable en cada una de las preguntas que les he hecho. Es aplicable en todos los ámbitos de la actividad humana y tiene un doble significado. En primer lugar, las instancias superiores no deben sustituir a las instancias inferiores, sino actuar cuando éstas sean incapaces de hacerlo. En segundo lugar, las instancias superiores deben ayudar a las instancias inferiores para que puedan conseguir mejorar sus objetivos. En pocas palabras, una organización bien definida de un Estado o un gobierno funcional, la subsidiariedad protege a la persona humana, a las comunidades locales y a los grupos intermedios, y ahora a los estados nacionales, del peligro de perder la legitimidad de la autonomía. Y esto nos lleva a pensar en las inseguridades que a veces tenemos como mujeres. La inseguridad que nos da al momento de tomar una decisión. ¿En quién va a repercutir? ¿Seré atacada por este posicionamiento político? Un simple hecho de dejar de ejecutar una idea por creer que no será lo suficientemente aceptada para tener una observación positiva por parte del pueblo o de los medios de comunicación. Abordar los discursos de las mujeres desde una posición de compromiso vital y de pertenencia supone un riesgo y una insumisión con aquellos postulados que sostienen que la teoría es neutra, postulados que no comparten. Es por ello que este día quiero compartir con ustedes que debemos tener presente al momento de la toma de decisiones 6 puntos importantes. Esto con el fin de lograr una mayor concentración, definir prioridades y despejar dudas e inseguridades. Paso 1, identifica la decisión que se debe tomar. Muchas de nosotras estamos sujetas a tomar decisiones y muchas veces tenemos, como lo dije en un principio, muy corto el tiempo para tomar esas decisiones. Cuando estamos en nuestros despachos ante el cabildo abierto o en entrevistas, muchas veces se nos abordan miles de preguntas. Todas necesitan respuesta, pero nosotras necesitamos identificar cuál de todas esas preguntas vamos a abordar para poderla responder o cuál es la ruta más factible para la toma de decisión. Paso 2, reúne información relevante. Siempre es importante permanecer informado de los datos más destacados del acontecer de nuestra nación. Una anécdota personal es que yo siempre leo los periódicos diarios de mi país porque así me mantengo informada de la noticia que pasa día a día y así puedo tomar mejores decisiones y conocer las necesidades que tiene nuestro país. Aprendemos, analizamos, esa será nuestra principal fortaleza al momento de la toma de decisiones. Dar una entrevista o participar en un foro. Nadie es dueño de la verdad, pero no hay nada mejor que contar con un respaldo de lo que decimos. Tener esa certeza de lo que estamos diciendo es completamente real. Paso número 3, identificar soluciones alternativas. Como mujeres se nos cree que somos capaces de resolver cada detalle de la vida, y es porque somos más observadoras, desconfiadas y persuasivas. Debemos ser capaces de identificar no solo una solución, sino que contar con varias opciones, ya que por cualquier razón nos descartarán alguna. De igual forma, cuando pensamos escuchar al pueblo cuáles son los problemas que a diario tenemos en nuestro país, podemos encontrar muchas soluciones a un problema. Por eso es importante que el verdadero poder esté en el pueblo para poder hacer este gran cambio que nuestras naciones necesitan. Paso 4, sopesa las soluciones. En política siempre estamos rodeadas de distintas ideologías. En mi caso, estoy en un congreso rodeada de muchas personas que pertenecen a diferentes partidos políticos e ideologías políticas. Opiniones que siempre habrá alguien que nos intentará persuadir o hacernos tomar una decisión para beneficio de algún grupo de poder o solo por beneficio propio de esa persona. Siempre debemos de medir a quienes afectará más, saber a cuántas personas beneficiaremos o afectaremos. Y eso es parte de nuestro trabajo como servidores públicos, investigar para apoyar a todo aquel que más lo necesite. Siempre las políticas públicas deben tener ese respaldo de saber cuántas personas vamos a beneficiar con una decisión o, en su defecto, cuántas personas estarán afectadas por esta decisión, porque en política no siempre se logra quedar bien con todo el mundo, pero siempre debe prevalecer el bien común. O sea, ese es el mayor peldaño que un congresista debe buscar, beneficiar a la mayoría de las personas. Paso número 5, elige una de las alternativas. Para elegir una alternativa debemos de acordar los objetivos, recabar la información acerca de lo que nos solicitan, ver qué factores envuelven el problema e identificar a las personas realmente afectadas. En nuestro deber como mujeres, ser consideradas con nuestro entorno, sensibilizarnos ante los problemas de la población. Y paso número 6, para finalizar, ponte en acción. Felicitémonos. Este es un trabajo 24/7 días de la semana. Día a día salimos a confrontar no solo los problemas personales, sino problemas que afectan a toda una nación. Es nuestra responsabilidad. Una mujer segura de sí misma jamás tendrá miedo a dar grandes pasos. Y nosotras ya lo dimos. Estamos aquí en acción, preparadas para la toma de decisiones, porque somos mujeres y estamos haciendo historia. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Honorable Mrs. Nasrallah. Thank you for taking your very valuable time to be with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And now we have with us a young and vibrant Barbadian woman leader. She works in the government of Barbados as the Chief Digital Technology Officer in the Ministry of Industry, Innovation, Science, and Technology. She was also a past president of the Lions Club of Bridgetown, Barbados. Under her leadership, the Bridgetown Lions Club won the Lions Club International Excellence Award. You will see for yourself what a bright light she is. Let's warmly welcome Miss Nicola Callender.
Thank you so much, Gail. Thank you so much. Good evening to all within the reach of my voice. Good evening, fellow panelists. Thank you so very much for being here today for this very special event as we address finding solutions to society's problems, addressing the inner conflict within each of us. I am honored to have been given the opportunity to speak to you at what I am sure will be a very memorable occasion. Thank you to those joining us from all around the world. Your presence is especially important as we discuss our society and us, the part we play in defining our society. I would also like to give a very special thank you to the International Association of First Ladies for Peace for managing and facilitating this most worthwhile webinar. Now, problems are part of life. We all deal with individual problems. Families have family issues and communities have community problems. Societies must come together to solve their problems, just like families. When communities try to solve problems, they start just like individuals do. They must reflect and analyze the issue to help to come up with a solution. But before discussing solutions, problems must be identified. Difficulties can arise in any part of a community and come from any aspect of community life. There's a long list of nominees, and you probably know some of the main contenders. Can you name the leading problems in your community? Chances are that you can at least start the list. Here are some from across the world: adolescent pregnancy, access to clean drinking water, child abuse and neglect, crime and violence, domestic violence, drug use, pollution, mismanagement of resources, lack of funding for schools and services, ethnic conflict, health disparities, HIV and AIDS, hunger, inadequate emergency services, inequality, lack of affordable housing, poverty, transportation, violence, racism, and police brutality. Now, this list is not exhaustive, but to resolve, certainly one gets the notion that the issue must be analyzed and prioritized by problem solvers, that is you, me, governments, NGOs like the Lions. To assist us, we may want to examine frequency, the duration, scope or range, severity, equity, or perception. Using these criteria will help us to prioritize. Now, once the problem has been recognized, it must then be analyzed to come up with the best solution to resolve it. Analyzing involves identifying reasons for a problem that exists, and then identifying possible solutions and a plan for improvement. Like society's problems, it's hard to address an inner conflict if you aren't fully aware of it. Identifying and being aware of inner conflict can be challenging. So what is inner conflict? Often when we are in conflict, it's hard to decide without feeling you're settling in some way. Inner conflict often makes us doubt ourselves, makes us sluggish. It occurs when our emotions, our thoughts, and our personal values are out of alignment. Or, looking at it another way, when our head, our heart, and our spirituality are misaligned. Sometimes we choose to behave in a different way to our natural ability to succeed. And over time, we become misaligned. There are many different types of inner conflict. You may feel you are destined for greater things, but the job security you have keeps you playing small. You may know you need to end the relationship, but you keep talking yourself out of it. You may know that you need to start saving, but you love the thrill of online and offline shopping. Whatever the inner conflict is, it could be holding you back from a happy and healthy life. To start identifying your inner conflicts, write down what you want and the things that are holding you back. Then you need to do a deep dive, dig a little deeper, and try and understand where it's coming from. What's the inner conflict? For example, is it coming from a place of fear or comfort? Often we fall into ruts or routines because it's our mind's way of protecting us. To address inner conflict, we need to be able to review and hold our rational thoughts and emotions side by side so that both sides can inform our decisions. If you tend to focus more on your emotional needs and desires, your decisions will be based on how you feel and a desire to feel better. Females are often described as emotional. It is thought that we are more in touch with our feelings than our male counterparts. And the thinking is males make better business solutions because they take the feeling out of it. In all situations, your personal values must be at the forefront to help with balancing. Generally, it is purported that we are guided by 3 key values. That is, having a happy relationship, an honest and respectable life, and safety and security. Other common values include honesty, loyalty, spirituality, humility, compassion, kindness, selflessness, and integrity. Now, understanding your own values is a fundamental part of self-awareness and getting to know yourself as a human being. It provides grounding to decisions when the next step is cloudy and filled with fear. To make the best choice for yourself, you must learn how to balance reason and emotions with personal values. Being mindful is a great way to address inner conflict. It enables you to listen to your inner wisdom and help to untangle your tangled thoughts. Mindfulness provides the enabling environment for emotions, thoughts, and personal values to come forward in a gentle way, providing clarity on the issues and potential solutions to them. It will take a while to get used to being in the moment and listening to yourself, but you'll find it's easier the more you practice. Finding solutions or addressing inner conflict basically have the same action plan. Identify the issue. Once the issue has been identified, we can come up with the best possible solution and a strategy to implement the solution. Individuals make up society. Once we can teach the art or science of problem solving, coupled with understanding how to balance one's emotions, thoughts, and personal values to gain the best possible outcome, we may be able to start the needed revolution against society's problems. Social problems solving skills are like any other muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. That applies to humans in general and society at large. As we make things better, as certain strategies are deployed, as we educate our communities more about using personal values to balance emotions and feelings, and goals are met, a momentum builds. As we attack different problems and address causes, past successes build and reinforce themselves. It has been said, the longest journey starts with a single step. I encourage you to step out on this challenge to find solutions to society's problems by addressing your inner conflict and teaching our youth to address their inner conflict. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that was amazing. I loved how you explained aligning the values with the mind and the heart. Amazing. You knocked it out of the park. Keep shining that bright light of yours, Miss Calendar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And to conclude our program today, I would like to welcome Mrs. Blessy DeCal for some closing remarks. Mrs. DeCal serves as the International and Asia Pacific Coordinator of the International Association of First Ladies for Peace, IAFLP. She's a Filipino-born turned Nepalese entrepreneur and a woman leader serving globally. She is the founding president of the Nepalese Filipino Association and the current chair of WFWP Nepal. She also served as the president of Nepal, Philippines Chamber of Commerce and Industry from 2017 to 19. And now, good news. I would like to congratulate Blessy Decal's husband, Honorable Eknath Decal, on winning for the second time a seat in the Parliament of Nepal. I knew from the time I heard that 2 of their 6 daughters were campaigning with their dad that they had already won the election. That is the power of family, ladies and gentlemen. Let's welcome Mrs. Decal.
Thank you very much, Gail. I'm humbled. Honorable First Ladies and women leaders of Central America and the Caribbean, the Universal Peace Federation, Women's Federation for World Peace International, media and friends, a pleasant day to all and namaste. It is my great honor and privilege to offer some closing remarks on this webinar titled Finding Solutions to Society's Problems, Addressing Inner Conflict That Exists Within Each of Us. We have been insight on how we might address the inner conflict that sometimes hinders us from reaching our full potential. In our roles of leaders, mothers, and active citizens of the society, while today's event has now come to an end, we look forward to further discussion and development on the critical issues raised and discussed. Dr. Julia Moon pointed out that the problems of society are rooted in individuals and that we need to look within ourselves. First, in our pursuit for peace in our societies, the teachings of all great religions call for self-discipline and the conquering of self-centeredness. These values are essential in the pursuit of happiness, goodness, and peace. Quoting Mother Moon, she said, "We need to encourage and foster the practice of living for the sake of others." While Her Excellency Dame Dr. Perlette Louisi reminded us to acknowledge our own weaknesses and imperfections, and then through self-discipline, self-control, and empathy for others, bring some stability in our own conflict. We can be powerful advocates for others in improving the life, chances of the members of the community, country, and society. Let us be the outstanding role models, for very often people remember that we did more than we said. First Lady Sybilis Patricia Minis expressed that identifying and addressing the conflict within is a step in the right direction. Change can only come when it commences in each of us. She said, "It is our duty that unselfishly serve, assist, and support others in our quest toward equality and safety for all people. Every citizen of the globe should take a personal oath to live in brotherly love. Our collective effort of love and service can greatly change and improve the lives of others and ultimately change our world." Honorable Hiroshika Elvire de Nasrallah asked that we implement the principle of subsidiarity, which protects the human person, local communities, intermediate groups, and even nation states from the danger of losing their legitimate autonomy. Finally, Ms. Nicola Calendar said, "The problem are part of life, and societies must come together to solve problems just like families. All problems must be analyzed to come up with the best solution and to resolve it. In addressing inner conflict, we need to be able to review and hold our rational thoughts and emotions side by side, so that both sides can inform our decision. Throughout the webinar, there were commonalities among the speeches, especially on the note of addressing our inner conflict so that we can properly exercise our roles in society. At the same time, each speaker was also able to provide individual insights, moral value, and actionable steps regarding this topic. Because of this, I am deeply honored to have listened and to have spoken in this gathering. I would like to thank all our esteemed speakers, the hardworking organizers, and of course, our audience for joining us today. Once again, muchas gracias con todos and namaste.
Thank you, Mrs. DeCal, for summing up and highlighting many of the insights and words of wisdom from our esteemed guest speakers today. This has truly been a wonderful and informative experience. It has been a pleasure getting to know all of you. As an individual, we may feel lonely at times, but together we can turn the tide of history towards a happier and more prosperous place for all of us to live in. Before we finish, we would like to take a commemorative photo. And while you're getting yourselves ready for that, I just want to thank two very special gentlemen. My loving husband, Gary, who is my right leg and always willing to help me, and our Regional Secretary General, Mr. Eliezer Araya, for his support and suggestions and managing all the technology behind the scenes. Okay, everyone, nice big smiles, say cheese, and thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.
Night, everybody. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Flora did a great job with demonstration.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you, translators. It was not easy. Thank you, translators.
Yes.
Gracias.
Thank you, Dr. Higgins.
Good job, Laura. Thank you.
Good to see you again.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you, Gail. Did a great job. Beautiful.
Thank you for listening.
Bye, gracias. Todo muy lindo.
Muy
Thank
lindo
you,
todo.
Excellency Paulette.
Yes.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. Good night,
Good
everybody.
night. Night, everybody. Bye-bye.